Welcome everybody to a session on how to read a parish map. Today we're going to cover what is a parish map, how do you find which parish you want, where to find parish maps, the kind of information that's on a parish map, which edition is the best one to use, some examples to show you what parish maps look at, and the question I get most often, which is what do all those funny numbers on the parish map mean? And finally, we'll look at where to go next. A parish map shows Crown land, that is, land belonging to the government. It also shows land in the process of being sold by the Crown, land that has been sold by the Crown, and we use terms such as granted or alienated for that, and land that gets taken back by the Crown, for example, for a reserve, a school site, a dam. What I really want to emphasise is that parish maps are not the end of your research into land. They are actually the beginning. They're a good starting place. This is because they act as an index to other sources. Parish maps were created by the Lands Department to record information for their purposes, to record information about what was and what wasn't Crown land. They weren't created for our family history research. Therefore, all research into land requires patience. A parish map does not include subsequent sales of land following the original sale by the Crown. No parish maps have been updated since 1991. If the property was mortgaged when the certificates of title were issued, the name of the mortgagee is going to show up on the parish map, not the name of the person who actually was the original selector, owner, and who, once they've paid the mortgage, will be the owner again. And that name is generally a bank, but it could also be a private individual who's actually supplying the money. An addition may not show the original selector if the land was later assumed by the Crown, and particularly land that's come under war service land settlement. That's been taken back by the government, bought back by the government, and earlier maps may show the original owner, but later maps will only show the name of the first lessee or owner under the war service settlement scheme. Parish maps use imperial measurements, not metrics, so you see terms such as acre, rod, and perch. Parish maps may show the location of government towns, that is, towns laid out by the government and then sold by the government. But you need to look at the actual town map to see more detail, such as the names of the first purchasers of the land. Now, town maps do not include private towns. A private town occurs on a subdivision of land that's already been sold by the government, not on Crown land. And the Western Division of New South Wales may not have parish maps, only county maps. How do you know which parish you want? After all, there's 7,515 parishes in New South Wales, and there are duplications of names. So when you see parishes referred to, they're usually referred to by both the parish and the county name. For example, the parish of Castlereagh, County of Leichhardt, is not near Walgett, whereas the parish of Castlereagh, County of Cumberland, is near Penrith, where we are. Best ways to find out which parish your place is in is to do a place name search on the Geographic Names Board of New South Wales. And along with all the other information about your place name, it will tell you the parish and county. So Kingswood, where we're located, is in the parish of Castlereagh, Cumberland. Now, if the place name is no longer current, on the same website, the Geographic Names Board, is a fantastic publication by Ernest Gleeson called Alphabetical List of Place Names in the Eastern and Central Divisions of New South Wales. It was compiled in 1954, and look at that handwriting. It's all handwritten. It includes rivers, locations, lots of things. However, it does exclude the 32 kilometres around the Sydney Post Office. So where do you find the actual parish maps? Well, the best place, of course, is the Historical Land Records Viewer on the website of the New South Wales Land Registry Services. It's important to remember that these are parish maps kept by the Departments of Lands and used by them and updated, annotated by them. There are the historical parish maps and there are the charting maps. And the charting maps are generally the last editions of the parish map. Sometimes you can get printed parish maps at local libraries, State Library of New South Wales or the National Library of Australia. And these are usually nice and clear, quite blank, because they don't have all the annotations that the Department of Lands put on them. And also try Trove maps. So what kind of information can you get on a parish map? You've got parish and county name. You've got land district. This is actually very important if you're tracing land tenure using the records here at the State Archives. You've got local government name. You've got the date the map was originally printed. And you've got the cancelled date, which is generally written across the map in red. And so all the annotations should be put on between that printed date and the cancelled date. You've got topographical features, such as natural landmarks, rivers. You've got place names. You've got bridges, ferries, punts, roads. Most important for your research, of course, is the portion boundary, the portion number, the area, the original grantee's name, and if it's a very early grant, it may show the date, the holder's name, when in fact the area is not yet granted or alienated and is being acquired, and the method of acquisition, such as CP, conditional purchase, CL, conditional lease, ACP, additional conditional purchase. You also get the certificate of title details, and these will show up with words such as book and page, which indicates that it's old system, or volume and folio, which indicates that it's Torrens title. Now these may be on within the portion, they could be in a separate table, and they usually show on the most recent editions of the maps. The parish map will also show you reserves such as parks, cemeteries, school sites, and when gazetted. And these may show up in the reference notes, which are the numbers in circles. I often get asked, which edition should I use? Obviously, the older edition is going to be the better, isn't it? Well, no. What you need to do is look at all editions and compare changes in information across time. Because older is not better. After all, it's the charting maps, which are the most recent edition of the parish maps, that give you the certificate of title information. The earlier editions do not include certificate of title information. So here we have an example of the 4th edition of the parish of Castlereagh. So you've got the edition number up the top, but down the bottom, next to where the distinctive boundaries are, you actually get a little notation to say that that map has been put into office use in 1933. You get told the land district, so it's in the land district of Walgett, it's in the Walgett Shire, and it's in the Central Division of New South Wales. You get your scale, your boundaries. Up the top here, we get the DP number that the parish map is now referred to by. You get your reference notes, which are the funny things, numbers in circles. And around the outside of the parish, you actually get the names of the adjoining parishes. So if in fact it wasn't the parish you wanted and you think, oh no, I need to go to the east a bit more, then you can find out from the parish map you're on where the next parish is. Here we have two examples from the parish of Castlereagh, County of Leichhardt, showing you the kind of information that's on it. So here we have parish portion numbers. So portion number 39 is a conditional lease, CL, in 1889, number 7, taken out on the 5th of September by Arthur Sterling Barton. And up in the corner, we get the first half of the Crown plan for the portion. Portion number 38 is a conditional purchase, 1889, number 7, taken out on the 5th of September by Arthur Sterling Barton. And again, we get the first half of our Crown plan for the portion. And portion 38 is 640 acres. Portion 39, which has a funny shape, is 1,920 acres. We know that portion 40 is a conditional purchase in 1890, number 17, taken out on the 13th of February by Robert Hamilton Patterson, and it's 640 acres. We can see down near the bottom of the map the tank and the drains, and that's just next to WR 1526, which I think may be water reserve, which was notified, in other words, published in the New South Wales Government Gazette on the 12th of February 1883. And of course, you've got the river up the top. If we have a look at the 4th edition from 1933, one of the main things that's different is that we now have bank names instead of individuals' names. And this indicates that these properties were mortgaged when the certificate of titles were issued because the conditional purchase or conditional lease had been finalised. We also get our volume and folio numbers, so that gives us a link into the certificates of title, the Torrens title. And the water reserve doesn't look to be a water reserve anymore. It has now been set aside for conditional purchase or conditional lease in 1902. And Mr. Salter has actually taken it out, although he's obviously mortgaged it to the Commercial Bank of Australia. Now, as more and more subdivision occurs, the maps just get very, very crowded. So here we have the parish of Castlereagh, County of Cumberland, and in fact, the main street of Penrith. So in our earlier edition, it's much easier to see that Captain Daniel Woodruff has Rodley Farm, and we'll actually notice that there is doesn't appear to be any Great Western Railway on that map. Go down to the bottom, we can still see Daniel Woodruff's name, but it's very indistinct because we've got Commonwealth, the land has been acquired for the Commonwealth purposes through the Commonwealth Gazette on the 13th September 1945. We've got the railway, we've got lots and lots of little round circles with numbers in them for the reference notes. And over the top of the map, we've got these yellow grid lines with numbers that start with U, such as U6460-61 and U6460-64. Now these are indexes into another set of maps, which are the Central Mapping Authority maps. So here we have an example of U646061, which is a Central Mapping Authority map for the parish of Castlereagh, and it's much more a larger scale, much more clearer, easier to read. It has the DP numbers, deposited plan numbers, on top of it. In some cases, it gives us the certificate of title detail. So here on DP 162044, we get told that it's book 1890, number 73, which indicates that it's an old system title, because book and number or book and page is old system, vol-fol is Torrens title. So we can use this information to research further. And the CMA maps are also available on the Historical Land Records Viewer. When you look at the parish maps, it's a wealth of information and it just seems to be full of numbers. But what I want you to remember is that these numbers lead somewhere else. Now, the main number, of course, is your portion number. So James Badgery has portion 28. Charles Palmer has portion 27, both of 100 acres. James Daly Sr. has portion 97. E.H. Clemson has portion 193. But along with those portion numbers, you also get the Crown Plan number for the portion. So for James Daly, portion 97, the Crown Plan number is 26-690. Now, for some of these, we only get the first number. So for E.H. Clemson, portion 193, we've only got 1455. Now, the letter in front of the numbers usually stands for the county. So all of these you'll see, most of them, are C, standing for Cumberland. Occasionally, you've got for portions 28 and 29, you've got N, which is probably going to stand for Nepean, and that suggests that it's actually a very old grant. But where you've only got one number, you need a second number, generally known as the small number, and I'll tell you in a minute where you may be able to find that. Now, you've also got Crown Plans for roads. And if we look at road number 155, where the yellow lines are running, you'll see that we've got a road map 550A-1603. The number in the front, R, generally stands for roads, unless you're in the county of Roos, and in that case it could be either roads or the county of Roos. The number at the back, so occasionally you'll see some of these have a little R or an OR, just means that it was a rolled plan and not a flat plan. Over here we have another map number, which is R9119-1603R. Again, if you are putting this in to get a Crown Plan of that road, you would be looking for 9119-1603. As you can see, both road maps end in 1603, which is a good way to figure out if it is in fact a road map. We also have what are called miscellaneous Crown Plans, which all start with the letters MS. Then you have the number, and then you usually have a location. So in this case, we're Sydney, so that's SY. If we were in orange, it would be OE. And that converts to a Crown Plan number. So MS 1023 SY is actually Crown Plan number 1023-3000. So as you can see, lots of numbers, but they're all leading on to something else. On many of the older editions, you actually get a table on the map. Now, it could be to one side of the actual map, or it could be on a separate sheet. And this table is a list of all the portions. It includes the plan number, the location for the portion on the map, and it includes certificate of title information. Now, the heading for certificate of title information says vol, fol, or date. If it's got a date, it means that it's a very old grant. You'll also see up the top, under the heading parish numbers used, it says small number is 2030 unless otherwise shown. So for example, for portion 1, we would want Crown Plan 756-690, but for portion 2, down to portion 21, we would want Crown Plan 27-2030. So that is a way to find the small number if you can't see it on the actual portion on the map. And generally the small number is the same for the entire county. Now, we referred to reference notes earlier, which were the little numbers inside a circle. Reference notes can be lots of different things, and they can give you information that you can follow up, such as a New South Wales Government Gazette date and page, a deposited plan number, and sometimes also certificate of title numbers. So, for example, reference note 125 is an area that was resumed and dedicated as a public road. It was gazetted, sometimes they say notified, but it was gazetted on the 7th of May 1982 on page number 2028, and it's on lot 1 of DP 42742. So most of these actually relate to roads that are either opening or sometimes roads that are no longer required and they've been closed and then sold to someone. Or there is a couple there, I think. So we've got 131, an easement for electricity purposes. 133 is an easement for electricity purposes. And 134 is where they've actually purchased some land for the public school. So again, they give you something such as a gazettal date or a vol-fol that you can then follow up. And the gazettes, of course, are available on Trove, along with digitised newspapers. So now you've got all these funny numbers, where do you go next? Well, Historical Land Record Viewer also has the certificate of titles on them, up to the 1960s. These need to be entered as number-number to do your search. So don't include the words vol-fol or the words book number, just put in number-number. Unfortunately, Crown plans cannot be viewed by you at home on the Historic Land Record Viewer. They can only be purchased from the information brokers or viewed here at the New South Wales State Archives reading room when we're open. So you might want to, when we're open, come and have a look at those before you actually purchase a copy, just to make certain that it's what you're actually after. I like Crown plans. I particularly like road plans because most plans do not show any kind of buildings on them because the surveyor gets there before the settlers do, and therefore the surveyors don't have any buildings to show on the maps. However, when they put through roads, they often do show some of the buildings that they think could be impacted by the road. So they're actually quite useful. Now, have a look on our website as well, because there are guides and indexes to lands records on our website. And you can search land tenure records, such as conditional purchases, leases, etc., at our reading room. Please allow lots of time. And unfortunately, if you're looking for the correspondence battle land tenure, there's no guarantee of success. So what do I want you to remember from this? That a parish map is a starting place for your land research. That land research requires immense patience, and you need to understand the systems that the Land Department used. So read the research guides on the New South Wales Land Registry Services website to inform yourself. Your ancestor may have owned land, but they may not show up on the parish map. If the land was mortgaged, their name's not going to be there. And if they bought it from another person and not the government, their name's not going to be there. Over to you, Emily.